Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Leverton on Everything podcast. My name is Leverton, and this is Everything, a daily podcast in under 10 minutes where I, Leverton, literally review everything. And today this is the first ever video edition of this, but it's an exciting reason why I decided to make this episode video and audio. I'm going to start my own YouTube channel. I have one, but they say you should focus, you know. Oh, my hands are doing weird things. Whoa, whoa. That's crazy. Um, yeah, you should focus on one channel per theme, I guess. So I'm gonna make a YouTube channel for each podcast that I do, which is a bit much. Yeah. So I wanted to do this episode this way because also I am happy to announce that I watched with my kids Superman. I think it's just called Superman, although people have been calling it Superman Legacy or something, but it's just called Superman 2025, which is the reboot of the DC DCU, the film universe for DC. What did I think about that? I have a lot of thoughts about the movie. My kids really liked the movie, and they were surprised that they really liked the movie, and the general reaction is pretty positive. I would say they really like the movie. Um, and I liked the movie. I had really high expectations for it, I think, and it wasn't the best possible Superman movie that it could be. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, you must be a Snyderverse fan. And no, I'm not a Snyderverse fan. I think that they took the character in a very dark direction, and ultimately, Henry Cavill. I never got the hype for Henry Cavill. People are always like, "Oh, Henry Cavill, he's so great, he's so great." I mean, not in Superman. It's just flat. The acting is very very flat. And I think what's his name? I'm gonna massacre his last name, but the actor that was cast to play Superman now is much more natural fit. It's like going back to Christopher Reeve, although it is a different portrayal as well. I think where I'm coming from, I don't know everything about Superman, but I really like the character. He's my favorite superhero character, and I really do enjoy. Uh, I enjoy movies with based on comics. I know that's strange because the MCU has kind of ruined that as a genre, I think. But it used to be that comic book movies were like the specific kind of thing, you know. You knew what you were getting, and maybe they'd be a little experimental, like kick ass, but they wouldn't be part of this whole huge, broader narrative. And I think that the way that James Gunn has decided to reboot the DCU, it's going to be that kind of way where every project has its own unique style and voice and stuff. So I like that. So maybe I can tell you a bit about what I didn't like, and then you can know where I'm coming from. So I didn't really like the portrayal of Clark Kent's parents. Um, the portrayal of his Kryptonian parents, but also the portrayal of his Earth parents, because they sounded so. I understand that there are people in the world that really sound like that really have those accents, but the accents were so thick, and I could understand them, but it kind of made it a little bit. Uh, it's not a nice thing to say, but like stupid, you know? And they're not stupid people, but they sounded really stupid. And I know that's not fair to that accent. There are very intelligent people who speak that way. But when you only have them say really homespun things, it doesn't really do those characters justice, I think. So that's the one problem I had with it. The other problem I had with it, and this thing that, oh, his Kryptonian parents sent him to Earth to conquer. And it's pretty clear that Lex has. This is a spoiler alert, but hopefully this episode will be released, far in the future. So if you haven't seen Superman, go see it. It's a really great movie, even though I'm criticizing it right now. So there's this bit in the movie where people turn against him because his parents sent him to conquer. And I checked, in only a few comics is that actually part of the plot. People misinterpret their motivations for sending him there. Uh, yeah, and I think actually there was this big hype. I'm recording this maybe like 3 days after the premiere, so there was this big controversy about the. I gotta see how much time I have. Oh no, I'm rambling. Oh, I see it right there. Yeah. Uh, there's a big controversy from MAGA people saying because James Gunn said that Superman is an immigrant and this is an immigrant story, and he's right. Superman has always been an immigrant. He's like a literal alien. But people were like, "Oh, it's a woke Superman." I mean, Superman has always been kind of woke. I mean, that's a word that doesn't mean anything anymore, in my opinion. But yeah, they didn't really play up that very much. And I think Supergirl, not the movie that's coming out in 2026, but the actual series, although it's not a great series from the CW, does handle this idea of the fact that the super family, or the L family, the House of L, when they're on Earth, they are immigrants, right? They're like completely immigrants. This is a story about people who are immigrants, and people are scared of them because they have superpowers. So it's kind of like with X-Men, it doesn't really work so much as a kind of metaphor for discrimination when there is a legitimate reason to be wary of superpowered people because they have more power than us. It's like being wary of billionaires or something like that. So yeah, I didn't like the plot about his family, and I didn't like the accents that the characters had. But other things that I liked, I liked a lot of other things about it. I like the fact that he gets angry. Somebody steals his dog. It's not his dog, we find out, but somebody steals the dog, and he bursts into an office. He's just saying, "Lex, where's the dog? Where's the dog?" And Lex is recording this to make him look like some madman. But like, really, if you, I don't think people would. I think people would understand if somebody stole your dog. You'd be upset about it, right? So that plot doesn't really make a lot of sense. But he is like the first. I mean, we've seen angry Superman, but we haven't seen humanly angry Superman. This is a man who grew up with humans. He has human frustrations. He has a human argument with his girlfriend. He thinks about how his public image is presented, and I think that the bit about the monkeys like typing out hateful comments online was a bit too much, but it is a comic book movie, and like I said before, I really like comic book movies, and this is a comic book movie. I think maybe when Dark Knight happened, that's when DC kind of got the wrong idea about comic book movies. You can be experimental, but they don't always have to be dark to work. It works with Batman because Batman fundamentally is a guy driven by his anger and his resentments, and his his uh, his striving for justice is all about trying to deal with his own personal turmoil. But Superman is much different from that. He's like the yin and yang. So those two characters, DC characters like yin and yang, and Superman is a symbol of hope. And why is he a symbol of hope? Because he is like super powered. He could be a god on Earth. He could control the world. He really could. but he doesn't. He chooses humanity because, and that's the best part about this movie, I think, is that he is shown to constantly choose the people. He's shown to constantly believe in people, and he even in the end. And Nicholas Hoult does a great job, and it's really crazy because he was in About a Boy. I discovered recently he's the boy in About a Boy. Great movie also, but you never expected that actor to go on to great things. But he does a superb job as Lex Luthor, uh, understanding his motivations and fighting with Superman almost on equal terms, even though one has superpowers and the other one doesn't. But even at the end, Superman says something like, what makes me a hero is not my superpowers. It's like I get up and I try and I fail. And, you know, he's basically saying, like, Lex, I hope someday you'll, like, join us in this community of people who are trying to be better, you know, which is great. Almost brings a tear to my eye. And my daughter said that she almost cried 4 times during the movie. So, it's a great movie. It's a great movie. Even though I'm giving it 7 out of 10, I would say it's a great movie. It's probably one of the best Superman movies. What is the best Superman movie? I'm going to be controversial and say actually it's Superman Returns. Because it gets rid of the cheesiness of the original 1978 movie and just it does that movie better, even though it's a reboot. So this is like a new Superman movie for a new age, and I think I'm really excited to see what James Gunn does in the future with it. I would be one moment of concern that I might have would be the idea that it's only 3 days after this movie has been in theaters, and luckily it exceeded expectations. People really, really like it. But people are saying, oh yeah, James Gunn, he saved DC. He saved DC films. And I haven't seen all of James Gunn's movies or productions, but the ones that I've seen are certainly great. But he's not going to make all of these movies. He's going to have other directors do them. So it doesn't necessarily mean that every movie is going to be great. I'm really curious about the Supergirl movie that's coming out in 2026 apparently, because I like that character much better than versions of that character like Marvel has Miss Marvel. It's not Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel. The current version of Captain Marvel is just Supergirl. Supergirl unfortunately has a ridiculous name, and they do kind of like deal with that in the Supergirl series. Yeah, currently I'm binging Smallville, so I'll have some thoughts about that. And I've gone over a little bit my time limit here, but it's the first time I've recorded a video to go with this. So if you're listening on the podcast, please check out my YouTube channel. Probably it'll just be called the Leverton on Everything channel, something like that. Yeah, and check it out. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.